like third or fourth attempt. Is there anybody there? Been struggling to connect. I can see there are 2 people now. There was nobody before. So I'm hoping this means that you can all see and hear me. Sorry for delayed, my delayed starting. I couldn't get it to connect. It's being weird. Hello. Sorry for the delay, everybody. Can anybody hear? Can people hear? Judy says she can't hear. It's a bit worrying. Am I mid-move? Yes, I'm moving in the morning. Hence the empty wall behind me and the slight echoiness. Sorry everybody, I was having real issues with connection. It just wouldn't connect. I think because we've been fiddling around with the internet and packing stuff. I normally have a little Wi-Fi booster in my office, but it's been packed. So I'm doing this on my cellular connection. I don't know, some people saying it's freezing. I don't know what to do because if I do it on the Wi-Fi, it just won't let me connect at all. Is it watchable? That's the question. How buffery? Is it unbearable? It's good for Marta. Okay, Judy can hear, that's good. Lots of empty shelves, nothing there. I did have a few false starts, apologies everybody. Hopefully this will be good and we can all get going. I think I'm just going to get going because I'm a bit worried the longer I sort of sit and talk, the longer it might buffer. Yes, moving day is tomorrow, so I still have a lot of cleaning to do. Packing is almost done, but you know, it's very stressful at this point. Luckily, Pugsley is staying at his granddad's for the night. And yeah, so that takes a little bit of a stress out of it. Okay, I apologise if it's freezing for you, I'm really sorry. If I put it on the Wi-Fi, it just won't let me connect. So I think this is the best we're gonna do, so I really apologise. We'll just power through. And obviously if it does freeze and you can't hear me at all or you can't see me, then just let me know in the chat and then I'll take a breath to see where we're going. Okay. Almond month. I hope you've all been enjoying almond month. I think this is an interesting one because, you know, we've been trying to look at notes throughout this year. And almond, I don't think is one of the obvious ones. And the reason we wanted to pick almond is because it's quite a trendy note or theme at the moment. We're seeing lots of almond fragrances. And also, I think it's quite a versatile note that can be used in many different ways. So I think you've hopefully seen that throughout the box, that it's quite versatile. So tonight we're going to talk through almond fragrances a little bit, some of the materials that are used or some of the things that have almond facets, and then we'll go through the fragrances. I haven't got some like further sniffing for you this evening because I packed everything away, so I wouldn't just not be doing that this evening. So otherwise I'd have to have lots of bottles out, which I wanted to minimise the disruption of. Again, as always, no right or wrong. Say it as you smell it. If it smells one way to you, then that's true. Okay, so almond. What? Let's do some notes on the theme. So almond, it doesn't really spring to mind as one of Perfumery's most prominent notes, but it's actually quite a big deal, especially over the last few years or so, where we've seen a growing trend for almond-centric fragrances, both in masculine and feminine fragrances, or fragrances that boast some sort of almond facet. But what makes almond such an interesting part of modern perfumery is the fact that it's just simply everywhere. It's in so many different guises, in so many different forms, in so many of our fragrances that we know. So it doesn't mean you'll be tripping over almond fragrances in the aisles of your local perfumery, but it's more that you'll see the scent of almond popping up in unusual places. If you think about it, lots of flowers such as lilac, heliotrope, mimosa have an almond facet naturally. and they kind of help sort of, that's one of the supporting acts in their kind of very complex odour profiles. Then there's Tonka Bean, which you'll probably seen or heard a lot about, which definitely has a sort of warm marzipan vibe, as well as sort of a toasted, nutty kind of vanilla vibe. And almond is used in perfumery to create realistic floral accords, because that's a natural facet of many florals, but also as a sweet gourmand edge to warmer, more edible perfumes. So it's very versatile and very unique. Sarah mentioned Hypnotic Poison. I think that's such an important fragrance. It's not in the box, but Hypnotic Poison is kind of, I would say, the reference almond fragrance, because it shows how almond can be used in sort of a floral context, but kind of as a, I suppose, as a juxtaposition. So you've got this lovely sort of warm, creamy jasmine in Hypnotic Poison, and this kind of nutty, bitter, dark almond that kind of amplifies the milkiness. I think it's one of the greatest fragrances ever made. And yeah, we haven't put it in the box. We don't tend to Dior and they'll not tend to be able to do that. So unfortunately not in the box, but a very good fragrance to go and try. So what I like about almond is it can be really, really versatile. And I think there's two sort of polar opposites for me. You've got the kind of very sickly sweet marzipan end. Then you've also got this very green, fresh, nutty side, which I think is really, really interesting. I think we've got those all across the box. So let's go straight into it. Definitely would have recognised it, Sarah, absolutely, because it is just so unique. Okay, fragrance A. If fragrance A was a celebrity, who would it be? Let's give this a spritz. I really like fragrance A. Yeah, I think this is good stuff. So why did we pick fragrance A? While you're telling me which celebrity it would be. It's a very modern take on almond. Almond is a central theme here, but it does, what I like about it is it has the mixture of the facets. So you've got a little bit of the sweet sort of gourmand edge of marzipan of almond here, which is sort of marzipan-esque, but that kind of green quality, the freshness as well. It's also a masculine fragrance, which we don't tend to open the boxes on a masculine fragrance. It tends to be mostly a feminine or a unisex fragrance, but this is a masculine fragrance. Keanu Reeves, Sandy Toxic. Interesting. You couldn't get two people more different. Dakota Johnson. I really like this. It smells, there's definitely a green quality to the almond, but it's got a crunchiness, like a fresh crunchiness. It's like you've crunched almonds in like some sort of almond water. I really like it. I think it's very, very handsome. And it's kind of woody. It goes very woody in the base, and there's lots of greenery in there. I think there's like a vetiver note in there that kind of gives it that masculine edge. And also a lot of orange blossom, which gives it that kind of sort of floral freshness, I think. That kind of wateriness. It's like an orange blossom water. Benedict Cumberbatch. Angelina Jolie. Lots of interesting thoughts on this one. So, A is gorgeous, says Ella. I think so. We've actually included one of its flankers in a recent box, if anyone can guess. So fragrance A, which is our, what I would say is kind of our handsome almond, is from Guerlain. It is L'Homme Idéal, the ideal man. This came out in 2014. It's an eau de toilette. It's by Perfume Thierry Vassar, and it is £61 for a 50ml eau de toilette, or up to £103 for a 150ml eau de toilette. I really, really like this fragrance. I actually quite like a lot of the flankers as well. There's a really nice flanker which I think is in sort of like a taupe bottle. I think it might be the Intense, which is really lovely, a bit more woody, a bit more leathery. But this, I think, is a really, really clever fragrance. And what I like about it is it almost feels like a masculine counterpart to La Petite Renoir, which is very kind of cherry almond as well. But this is a little bit more of like the masculine fragrance. So I like this. I think it's really, really beautifully done. So there you go. L'Homme Idéal. The eau de toilette, the original, the OG, the first in the lineup. Surprise for anybody? Now, whilst it's masculine, I would say anybody could wear this. So if you like it and you are not a man, then fine, wear it. It does have a lovely dry down, you're right, Hayley. It goes so sort of warm and leathery and smooth, a little bit vanilla, a little bit smoky. Really, really lovely. So that's number one. Put that down now. So let's move to fragrance B. This is what I'm calling the luxurious almond. If this was a holiday destination, what holiday would it be? Fragrance B, I think, is really interesting. I know it's such a benign word, not a very interesting word to use, interesting, but it is. I find it quite fascinating because it's so vibrant. Like, it's almost like pure almond in neon pink. And I think that's why we chose it, because it's just so almondy. It's got the cherryness, it's got that marzipan vibe, but it's also very light, airy, delicate and transparent. And I think that's what works in its favour, because you can spray this on and not feel overwhelmed by it. It's not sickly sweet. And it does a really interesting thing. It's like all almond up top, and then it goes into this sort of like nice resinous, sort of floral musk fragrance at the end, which is very reminiscent of something else, which I'm sure some of you may be able to guess. But yeah, I just think it's really, really, really lovely. I think this is the most almond in the box. Ooh, Bali, Madrid, Valencia. Lovely. 3 places I would love to go. Sorrento, lovely. Gosh, you guys are making me want to go on holiday now. I get the house move out of the way, then I can go on holiday. I'm going to LA in November. I'm looking forward to that. But that's November. I've got to wait, got to get into the house. Got to clean, got to do a lot of cleaning first. Yes, this fragrance is really lovely. I think the luxuriousness comes from this like suede-like character. It's a very textural fragrance to me. It's like very, very fizzy, kind of cherry almond soda pop to begin with. And then it goes to this lovely sort of suede-like softness. It's like Kenzo Poppy. Yeah, I can see that. Kenzo Poppy is very powdery. It is irisy, Kirsten. You are correct. Definitely. Okay. I'm going to show you what this is. I have a disclaimer. I packed the bottle. I'm very sorry. I did this when I was packing. I tried to get ahead. It took me 2 weeks to pack this on and off because I bubble wrapped every single bottle. I had 12 boxes of perfume and I didn't realise that I had packed it. So I'm going to show you another fragrance in the collection. So you'll see what the bottle looks like, but it's not the exact fragrance. Okay, because I packed it and then I couldn't remember which box it was in. And I was not opening all boxes. So this fragrance is from Prada and it is Infusion d'Almond. Infusion D apostrophe Almond, which is A-M-A-N-D-E. Comes from the Infusion de Prada series. This one I'm showing is the Iris Cedra. Ignore that, it is not this one. But this is what the bottle looks like. It came out in 2015. It is by Daniela Andrea, the in-house perfumer at Prada. £118 for 100ml de Parfum. And what I love about this is the bottles have these lovely sort of paper stickers and sort of wraps around the lid. And in the almond, the colour they've chosen is kind of like this powdery, sort of powder duck egg blue, which is really, really beautiful. And not the colour that my mind immediately goes to when I smell almond, but actually works really well for the fragrance. So it looks very similar to this, but I have packed it somewhere. Yes, 12 boxes. It took a very long time. I went through, I think it was 250 meters of bubble wrap. I bought biodegradable though, so I think that's good. Good for me, which is more expensive, but I thought using a lot. So this is our lovely, luxurious almond. Okay, let's move on. That's the only one of the bottles that I do have a little bit of a muck up with. The rest I do actually have here. Let's go to fragrance C. I did do the price on that one, I did. Yes, £118 for 100ml de Parfum. Yeah, blue is not what comes to my mind either, Sarah, when I smell almond, but it works with the fragrance. I think they've picked a really nice sort of thing. It's like when you smell Angel. Angel shouldn't be blue, but it is, I guess. It makes sense as blue. Okay, fragrance C is what I'm calling the multifaceted almond. How much dollar? £118 for 100 millilitres. Fragrance C. If fragrance C was a dessert, what dessert would it be? This one I'm calling the multifaceted almond. It's really complex. There's a lot going on in this fragrance. It is very almondy for one. Totally see the Ferrero Rocher kind of note there. Definitely hazelnutty. It's like almonds surrounded by lots of things. There's florals, there's resins, there's spices, there's balsams, there's vanilla. It feels very sweet and edible. There's kind of, you know, a watery feel to it, but then also it's like rich, leathery. There's a touch of smoke, the freshness of orange blossom water, which is what we actually saw in L'Omédial. It's a very exotic treat, I think. Ooh, creme brulee, frangipani tart, toasted coconut sweet. You guys are making me hungry. Sarah didn't like C. I think it's quite a lot, C. I can understand that. Cinematic, good word. Hint of hospital floor sanitizer, yeah. They use the expensive stuff in the NHS. There is also a greenery to it. I do get that kind of like freshness. It's hidden, but it is there. Yeah, Christmas pudding. It definitely does have like a winter spice vibe, doesn't it? It's kind of, it's a lot. I feel like it's a real rich treat. You wouldn't want to wear this every day, just the same way you wouldn't want to eat, you know, a delicious, exotic, you know, treat every day. Inky. Inky. That's interesting. I wonder if that's coming from the leather. I wonder. This one certainly goes all out on the bottle front. It does indeed. This fragrance, and I will show you the bottle because it is very interesting. I think, is this the first time we've done this brand? Is it the first time? I think it might be. You'll correct me. The people who've been here all the way through will probably correct me, but if I'm wrong. But I think it is the first time we've done this in a box. This is from the House of Oud, and it is a fragrance called Almond Harmony. No, Almond Harmony. Almond Harmony. Try saying that when you've had a few drinks, which I haven't had, but if I had. So this came out in 2016. It's £198 for a 75ml eau de parfum. The bottle is giving, it's giving a lot. But this is actually not the lid. This is the perfume. The lid is on the bottom, which is fascinating. It is the first time, you're right, Gavin. The reason why I'm getting confused is because I did write about one for Escentual a while back, back when I was doing my writing. And I think it's called What About Pop, which is a popcorny smelling one, which was really interesting. And I couldn't remember whether we did it here or whether I'd just written about it. So I must have just written about it. But yeah, so the bottle has got this lovely sort of marble effect on it. And then the bottle goes into the base almost, which is a very heavy gold base. It's giving Jurassic Park mosquito. If we were giving out boxes for funny comments, Hayley, that would definitely win. So yeah, this is £198 for a 75ml eau de parfum. Really rich, intense, kind of multifaceted take on almond that's got so much going on. Flowers, resins, balsams, leather, smoke. Definitely not for the faint-hearted. The bottle is beautiful, but you can keep the fragrance. I will take that under advisement, thank you. Dates Delight. I've not smelled that one. Wanting one of these, maybe H. Thought H might have been a who. No. Oh yeah. Such a strange reveal for my bank account. Yes, apologies for that. We do get that way. Right, let's move on to D. Let's move on to D. Yeah, absolutely worth buying for the bottle. Beautiful, beautiful bottle. So D is the fruity almond. If it was a superhero, who would it be? You know what it's like. Those words don't want to come out of my mouth properly. It's definitely fruitier. It's definitely more modern. It's definitely also a bit more youthful. And I'd also say that this one is one that doesn't push the almond front and center. It's more about sort of almond as a supporting act, background player, that kind of thing. It's got lovely sort of juiciness up top. That's what I think is really lovely about this fragrance. It's like sliced fruits, kind of pulpy. There's some juicy cherries, some lovely warm floaty florals. Kind of what I would say, kind of vague florals. That's not meant as a criticism. It just means it smells floral, but I couldn't really pick any single one flower. Maybe a little bit sort of white floral, jasmine-y, but it's not. It's a clean floral. And then the base is very gourmand, so you have this kind of caramel and musk, and it's just like a sort of thread of warm almond throughout. Smells like teenage girls on the bus. It's not Moody Almond, no. Citizen Starlight. Is that the boys? Is that from the boys? I think D would be one of the Powerpuff Girls. Definitely. Which one though? Definitely not Blossom. Or Buttercup. Is that the one Bubbles? The blue one Bubbles? Be Bubbles. Definitely Bubbles. It was a Scrubber. Supergirl. Sarah really enjoyed D. Rachel thought it was sweet. So sweet. I don't know if that's a good sweet or a bad sweet. It's like Ghost Girl, says Ella. Yeah, I think it's certainly got a target market, this one. What I would say is also it's probably on the more affordable end, which I think is good. Okay, shall I tell you what it is? Yes, let's go. So this one is Orb of Night. Ooh, that's a fancy name. By Ghost. This is by perfumer Pierre Constantin Garros, and it came out last year in 2021. It is £27 for a 30ml eau de parfum and £51 for a 75ml eau de parfum. And it comes in this beautiful moon bottle, which is kind of like the Deep Night bottle. Deep Night, Ghost, the original fragrance, which I think we did in the rose box. And then Deep Night, they're kind of like the smells of youth for me, because the girls at school always used to wear those two fragrances. And I think they're really, really good fragrances as well. They've stood the test of time. There you go. Ghost. Orb of Night. Ooh, mystic name. Right, we've done the first half. Let's move on. Fragrance E. If Fragrance E was a song, what song would it be? This one I'm calling them the Floral Almond. Well, I would call it that if I could get it out of the box. There we go. Fragrance E. The lady that's bought our house is going to come into my office tomorrow and be like, oh, it smells very lovely in here. That is fresher than I was expecting it to be. Fresher than I remembered. Okay. Yes, if it was a song, what song would it be? So we picked this because it's a more floral take on almond. It centres on Mimosa, which we talked about earlier, which has a natural almond facet to it. Alongside, mimosas are kind of interesting because they're nutty, fresh almond. They're also very powdery, and they have a pollen-like feel and maybe a little bit of a honey texture, honey sort of facet to them as well. It's a fragrance with a very grand name, but actually it's quite a subtle, understated scent, which I think is, I don't know, really the interesting concept for me. I think the concept of the fragrance versus the actual smell is a little bit discordant, but in a way that I think feels deliberate. I think it's a really, really lovely fragrance, and I would call it sort of an everyday fragrance. It smells like mimosa blossoms on the breeze. I love mimosa. One of my all-time favourite fragrances is Mimosa and Cardamom from Jo Malone. I think that's wonderful. And when we moved into this house, actually, several years ago, a long time ago, we bought a Mimosa and Cardamom candle and burnt it. So that I always associate the smell of that fragrance with this house, but also I wear the fragrance a lot. I love it. But I love mimosas because they look like little sort of yellow pom-poms. They're really kind of pretty flowers. And this smells like mimosa to me. It's got but it's almost caught in a breeze. Like you're not smelling it up close. It's sort of far away, carrying on the summer breeze. It's a touch of honey. It's fresh, touch of green, some dewy petals in there. There's warm amber and vanilla and musk. And it has kind of a liquid quality to me. And it's glowing, but it's like softly glowing. It's like sort of not bright lights. It's lasted for me with moisturiser underneath. Lovely, fabulous, opulent, and winter scent. Yeah, definitely more autumnal winter, definitely, because it's warmer. It goes into that really gorgeous sort of vanilla in the end, which is a little bit sweet and powdery. Really lovely fragrance. Beautiful bottle. Wonderful, wonderful idea, this fragrance. I love it. I shall tell you what it is. I'm sure some of you will know this fragrance because it has been around for a while. It came out in 2004. It's by a very well-known brand, and it is Cinema by YSL. Oh, you really can't see that, can you, in the light? There you go. Cinema by YSL. The bottle's lovely because it's got kind of Yves Saint Laurent scrolling, almost like the titles of the movie in the credits, which I think is really beautifully done. Creative. This came out when Tom Ford was at YSL, and he did some wonderful fragrances at YSL. He did Rive Gauche Pour Homme, which I think is one of the greatest, if not the greatest fougere ever made, one of my all-time favourite fragrances, annoyingly discontinued. He also did Nude, N-U as in nude, which is a fantastic incense, like white floral fragrance that is in a horrible purple hockey puck, sorry, ADHD brain, words tumble out of my mouth. Hockey puck bottle that they annoyingly discontinued as well. And he also did Cinema. And I think he did Belle d'Opium as well. I think that was when he was there. But some really, really cool stuff. And this was one of his that he did. And this is £102 for a 90ml eau de parfum. I think it is just fantastic. It's not a statement fragrance. You think the name like Cinema, it's going to be grand and opulent. But actually, it's much more of a kind of indie French movie than it is a blockbuster. And I think that lies in its charm. It's like every day can be beautiful. Every day doesn't have to be a movie premiere. You can wear something gorgeous every day. So, yeah, that's Cinema. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Okay. Where are we? We're on F. So, if fragrance F was a film, what film would it be? It's good that we didn't have that for fragrance E, because that would kind of give them the game away, wouldn't it? This is what I'm calling the Milky Almond. We talked a bit about Hypnotic Poison at the beginning. Famous fragrance from Dior that obviously uses almond as a central theme, and that fragrance is very lactonic, very milky, very creamy. This kind of does that in the same way. So it showcases, essentially the heart of this fragrance is a lilac flower, and lilacs have a natural almond facet. And this fragrance has kind of got this sort of lactonic, milky texture, which is really fascinating. It is a recent launch. So it came out, when did it come out? It was last year, I think. Yeah, it came out last year. And it's really, really beautiful. One of my favourite fragrances from last year. What I think is really interesting is you've got the lilac, like all facets of the lilac. So you've got the aquatic, fresh top notes, which are a little bit ozonic, quite crisp, a little bit like diving in the sea. And then like kind of the fresh, clean florals, almost like you're sort of stepping into a florist refrigerator. Then it goes very sort of pink, like purpley lilacs, and then this almond milk just running throughout. It's just gorgeous. Lactonic is kind of milky, I think. Like lactones are materials that bring sort of a milky texture, so that's where lactonic comes from. Sunscreen, yeah, absolutely, because it's like creamy white floral milkiness. Wow, your daughter has great taste, Sarah. But there is a bitterness to it, I would say, absolutely. Fleeting, Rachel. Okay, I don't find it personally too fleeting on me, but, you know, your mileage will definitely vary. That's the weird thing about fragrances. Sometimes they just wear differently, don't they? Okay, this fragrance is... It's by Issey Miyake. It's called A Drop de Issey, so a drop of Issey. And this came out in 2021 by Perfume Annie Io. It's £47 for a 30ml eau de parfum and £87 for a 90ml eau de parfum. Beautiful bottle with this lovely sort of indent in it that feels very tactile, very ergonomic, and this lovely sort of squidgy thing. I've also got a stand for it. This is obviously a display model. Look, here you go, just in case I forget who it belongs to. It says Issey Miyake. I love Issey Miyake's fragrances. We did two of them actually in the... we've done a couple actually. I'm sure we did one in the rose, and I'm sure we did two in the aquatic when we were doing our themes, our families. I think they're just really, really beautiful fragrances. So that's Issey Miyake. Yes, I saw that, Kirsten. I haven't managed to try it yet. Let me know if you've managed to, the flankers to this. I thought it was like meant to be a bit green, a bit more floral. Not what you expected, Lisa. That's what we want. We want a surprise. Okay, this one is the Gourmand Almond. So this is fragrance G. How are we on G already? Jeez, we're blasting through these. If this was an outfit, what outfit would it be? It's similar to En Passant, yeah. En Passant, which is the Frederic Malle fragrance, In Passing, En Passant, is a lot more aquatic in my mind, and also has a look, a sort of a yeasty sort of bread note in there. It's by a perfumer called Olivia Giacobetti, who does some fantastic stuff, did some wonderful things at L'Artisan Parfumeur. I find that much more fresh, aquatic, yeasty, less milky. More photorealistic lilacs. This has got a little, the Issey has got a little bit more artistic license. Fragrance G, why did we pick this? Well, because you could just eat it. It's so delicious. It's kind of like a juicy almond cake with marzipan, and it's got this lovely citrus freshness and like a smooth vanilla base. If tiramisu were made out of almonds rather than coffee, I feel like this is what it would smell like. Animal print dress, black heels, wedding dress. Never liked Issey Miyake, but then I smelled the rose. That rose is insanely good. It's like rose jam, the best. Little black dress. I love this. And it's also, again, quite light. So it's a lovely, if it's a cake, it's a very delicate sponge. Like a, what's that cake? My dad always gets me one for Christmas because he's obsessed with them. It's not panettone. It's the one without fruit. It's a Pandoro. One of those cakes. It's just a cake with the kind of sugar on top. There's no fruit in it. Is that a Pandoro? I really like them. My dad's obsessed with them. It's like kind of that light texture, but with almond, obviously. Because I don't think you get that in that particular cake. But if you've got an almond flavoured one. I'm just obsessed with this. It's so smooth. So smooth. I'm really here for an almond tiramisu. I love tiramisu. I will be honest. This is a safe space. I feel comfortable telling you this. Sometimes I will go to the co-op and I will buy a tiramisu. And I don't mean like a little pot of tiramisu. I mean the sharing tiramisu. And I will eat the whole thing with a spoon. And I don't feel ashamed. Buttery bubblegum marzipan. Yeah, buttery, absolutely. G could be a chef's outfit because it smells very millet to me, like a dessert smell. Absolutely. I do have to respray it a lot, but I had it on my winter scarf last year. It still smells like it now. Must be a skin chemistry issue, maybe. Possibly. It could be. I mean, if your skin is a little bit drier, things don't tend to stay as long. Or it could be that there's some notes in it that you become quite nose blind to quite quickly. Tiramisu is amazing. Red fruit tiramisu. Okay, I'm intrigued. I will look into this. Tiramisu with 1 spoon, never 2 spoons. It's rude to share. It's rude to share a tiramisu. It's offensive to the chef. Good. I'm glad you've all done that. Let's reveal Fragrance G. So this is from a brand, I think we've regularly included this brand because how can you not? It is from Acqua di Parma, helps if I show you the label. This is from their Blue Mediterraneo collection, which is all inspired by different places in Italy. And this is Mandorlo di Sicilia. There you go. I am Italian. I'm not cool or attractive enough to be Italian. It's £88 and for a 75ml EDT, or £134 for a 50ml, 150ml, I think that should be ADT. It came out in 1999. I don't know the perfumer. They must not have credited them at the time. Thanks, Lisa. I am going to eat it. I am going to eat it. So there you go. Mandorlo di Sicilia from Acqua di Parma. I love Acqua di Parma. I have an Acqua di Parma diffuser in my car and it smells amazing. But annoyingly, in my new car, because I've ordered a Tesla, because I'm fancy, you don't have the little things like the little grate, like the air vents. It's all weird, so I can't use it. So I'm going to have to give it to Nigel, which I think he's quite happy about, because then he gets that in his car. I'll have to think of an alternative. Maybe I'll just spray a load of Acqua di Parma in my car. Ooh. That went all over my leg. Right, Fragrance H, last one. Last one. If Fragrance H was a colour, what colour would it be? So this one I think is a more subtle almond. Oh, don't feel embarrassed, Richard. This is the thing about the blind testing. You know, when you take away all of the cues of a fragrance, you can sort of lose sight of what it is. And we see this a lot. People always say in the group, I have this and I love it. I wear it all the time, but I didn't recognise it. You just don't sometimes. I told when I wore H, that I smelled delightful. That's good. We have a Tesla. Fabulous. You can watch Netflix and traffic jams. I am going to try that. I feel like I'm naturally a distracted person, so possibly not while I'm driving. I'm very excited. It's being delivered on the 8th. Very excited. Like wearing Baccarat 540 to go bog snorkeling. Gavin, where do you get these ideas? I think if you were to wear Baccarat Rouge 540 to do any form of snorkeling, that you would be arrested for endangering sea wildlife. Earthy and soft, yeah, absolutely. Victoria says it's her favourite. It's an enigma, pale pink. One of my faves. So I think this one is absolutely dividing the group a little bit, isn't it? Gave me a coughing fit. Interesting. I didn't really smell the Baccarat Rouge thing, but now Gavin's mentioned it, it's all I can smell. All I can smell. It's a woody take on almond, and I think that's what makes it quite interesting. So there's a dash of lemon in there. It's sort of sweet, but sort of delicately slow with that almond kind of sweetness. Dark, nutty woods. I kind of see it as like, as if the glowing almond is the grain of the woods. The wood is darker, and you've got this lovely sort of golden almond sort of wood grain. Hints of smoke and wood powder, touch of vanilla. It's a lovely little combination. Light pink, because I think it smells like candy floss. Interesting. I think other people, you're picking up the sugar more than me. I get a lot more of the smoke and the wood. But now I'm getting all Baccarat Rouge. Thanks, Gavin. Thanks, Gavin. Mud, marzipan and spun sugar. That is an interesting combination. It's not as delicious as a tiramisu, I'll tell you that. Okay, this is a brand that we have featured. I think we did it in our last box. We did it in our last box. It is Van Cleef and Arpels. That is a smudgy bottle, excuse me. I cannot show you that. That's very smudgy. Bear with. Less smudgy now. This is from their collection Extraordinaire, and it is Bois d'Amande, so almond woods. Came out in 2020 by perfumer Sidonie Lancasseur, and it is £138 for a 75ml eau de parfum. There you go. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. And that's almond. That is almond done in 43 minutes. That must be a record. Absolute record. So, what are we doing next month? That's a really good question. I'm not able to think of anything other than the fact that I'm moving house tomorrow. What is next month? What is it? Let's have a look. I'll be able to tell you, bear with. Vanilla. We are doing vanilla in the next box, and it is on sale. I can see it on the Escentual website. We are doing vanilla. That should be interesting. Getting in a little bit more of a warmer territory. I shall love you and leave you because I've got a lot of cleaning to do. So apologies. I think I should be getting on with that. So you're all saying vanilla. Yes, thank you everybody. So I'll see you for vanilla. Thank you very much. I hope you all liked almond. As always, let me know if you get anything because I'm always intrigued to see what people buy. And until then, have a lovely, lovely evening and weekend. And it's a bank holiday weekend, so enjoy that. Thanks for joining, everybody. Thank you, Sarah, for if it was your first go. So we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Do you know what December will be? Yeah, I do actually, somewhere. I'll put it in the group because I can't remember off the top of my head. But I will be able to find out what December is and I'll tell you. Thank you very much for all the lovely wishes of the house move. I'm hoping it will go okay. I'm worried that the cats will be stressed out, but I think that's unavoidable. So have a lovely evening and I will see you on the other side. And next month I will be in my brand new home office, which is not painted black. So it'll be a little bit more of a brighter space. So have a lovely weekend and I'll see you all soon. Bye.